Today, we're talking about Claressa Shields. And once again, the internet has plenty to say. This time, the conversation isn't just about the papoose drama. It's about her look. Fans quickly noticed similarities between Claressa's style and a previous appearance by Alycia Baumgardner, leading to accusations that Claressa was borrowing a look already associated with one of women's boxing's biggest stars. And now MVP Promotions appears to have joined the conversation, adding even more fuel to the growing debate. Just yesterday, we talked about Claressa Shields calling out MVP Promotions during the weigh-in and asking them to lift her ban so she could potentially face fighters connected to their roster. But there's an interesting contrast here. After the ban, Claressa pushed back against the idea that she was banned from boxing altogether, arguing that people were misrepresenting the situation. She also made it clear that she didn't need MVP Promotions, saying she was the star, she was the movement, and she would always find opponents based on that mindset. Some people began wondering whether Claressa's future would lean more towards celebrity-style matchups and personalities from the baddies world instead of traditional boxing opponents. That brings up the bigger question, which MVP Promotions fighters would even want to work with her now? Asia had previously suggested that Claressa might eventually need to offer a genuine apology over the controversy. But critics argue that accountability hasn't been the strongest theme throughout this situation. Whenever another issue comes up, they say Claressa often shifts the conversation toward denial, deflection, or what about response instead of directly addressing the criticism, instead of keeping the focus on the original criticism. The conversation often shifts toward what someone else allegedly did wrong. That allows Claressa's supporters to frame her as the one being targeted while critics become the aggressors. The debate has also expanded into claims of colorism and arguments that some people simply don't want to see a Black female boxer succeed. Supporters and critics continue going back and forth, with the same question returning again and again. Is Claressa facing legitimate criticism, or are people simply determined to see her fail? Here's where things get interesting. At the end of yesterday's weigh-in, MVP Promotions posted a clip highlighting Amanda Serrano and Alycia Baumgardner, two major names associated with the promotion. But fans quickly noticed something else. The background music was Remy Ma's new track, Want to Go. Given the ongoing Claressa Shields drama, some viewers immediately interpreted the song choice as a subtle message aimed in her direction. And just like that, the internet had another reason to start talking. The song choice became even more interesting when fans noticed lyrics that appeared to mock Claressa's fashion, with references to hand-me-downs, resale items, and clearance racks. Then MVP Promotions posted another clip featuring Alycia Baumgardner, who reposted her weigh-in video with bomb emojis, laughing and yawning emojis, and what appeared to be another reference to Remy Ma's lyrics. And just when people thought the shade was over, MVP Promotions followed up with another post declaring, "The bomb is the standard." Needless to say, fans immediately started connecting the dots. If you were ever a Housewives fan, you've probably heard the whole debate about who is the standard. But MVP Promotions seemed to make its position pretty clear. Alycia Baumgardner was the standard. Then they posted a side-by-side comparison showing Alycia from the 18th of December, 2020, next to Claressa Shields, Shields from the 14th of August, 2026. The caption appeared to suggest that Claressa's weigh-in look looked very familiar, with an eyes emoji adding even more emphasis. Naturally, fans immediately started connecting the dots and asking whether MVP was deliberately calling out the similarity. Alycia Baumgardner was praised for continuing to set the standard, with MVP promotions adding a fire emoji and hashtags for both Alycia and Claressa. Amanda Serrano also appeared to like the post, which only fueled the reactions. Fans quickly picked sides, with some saying the bomb did it better, while Dawn Boxing encouraged people to watch Claressa's fight the next day with a wink emoji, adding even more to the speculation. And now the bigger question is whether Claressa's fight will attract more viewers watching from home than fans actually showing up at the venue. Will the crowd fill up at the last minute, or will the attendance tell a very different story? And there was another detail that made the MVP promotions post even more interesting. Once again, Remy Ma's Want to Go was playing in the background, making it feel like the unofficial soundtrack to the whole situation. The repeated use of the track definitely caught people's attention, especially with everything surrounding Claressa. And honestly, the amount of praise and validation being pushed yesterday felt unusual to some viewers. So when someone is already accomplished and established, you have to wonder why there seems to be such a strong need to constantly remind everyone that they're still the biggest name in the room. And this is where the situation gets even more interesting. Some people argue that none of this would be happening if Claressa had accepted the opportunity to work with MVP Promotions when she had the chance. Nissa previously claimed the upfront money wasn't enough, bringing back the bigger debate over quick checks versus long-term wealth. The argument is that Claressa may have prioritized immediate money instead of considering what a larger partnership could have built for her financially over time. From that perspective, the real issue may not have been the size of one check, but what she potentially gave up by thinking short term. The bigger question is whether Claressa realized how much larger the opportunity could have become as MVP Promotions expanded its partnerships, sponsorships, and overall brand. She could have had bigger promotional campaigns, major red carpet appearances, and a much larger platform. Imagine if this fight had landed on Netflix or ESPN, the audience and exposure could have been completely different. She also potentially missed the benefit of having a professional team managing her public image and helping keep the social media drama from overshadowing her boxing career. Major brands can invest heavily in athletes when their public image fits the brand, and critics argue that a professional management team might have advised Claressa to either keep the Papoose situation private or step away from it. It becomes difficult to pitch an athlete to major sponsors when the public conversation is constantly dominated by relationship drama, online arguments, family issues, and public conflicts. The bigger question is simple. How do you build a major brand around an athlete when the story keeps shifting away from their sport and toward personal controversy? MVP Promotions could have offered Claressa a more structured professional environment, including people willing to challenge some of her assumptions about Papoose and the promises surrounding their future. An objective team might also have asked whether his involvement was truly helping her career or simply adding distractions. When one partner's success creates insecurity or dependence, resentment can build over time and damage both the relationship and the person's professional focus. As long as someone is willing to step into the ring with Claressa, Critics believe she can continue promoting almost any matchup as a major event. She can point to her undefeated record, 2 Olympic gold medals, and GOAT status, even when the opponent has a limited profile. Critics argue that she has increasingly focused on celebrity style or less established opponents while avoiding some of the toughest challenges in women's boxing. The K Scott matchup became another example, with Claressa promoting it as a must-see event, despite skeptics questioning whether the fight truly deserved that level of hype.